Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll give it just a moment for folks to join, but you are coming on to Charting Your Financial Future, Money Management for Creatives, our series here with CBCA in partnership with Ent Credit Union. This is the third webinar in our, Money Management for Creatives series. And today we're talking about financial forks in the road, making those big financial decisions. What are they? How to handle them? What resources are there to help you navigate your financial future, particularly as artists or creative professionals who maybe just have sort of a different path in life. A few Zoom housekeeping items to cover. This is being presented on the Zoom webinar platform, which means for those of you watching us with us live right now on Zoom, your mic is turned off, your camera is turned off, so you can really focus on our great content today and our terrific speakers, Katie and DeAndre from Ent Credit Union. But we still want to hear from you. They want to be able to answer your questions, hear your comments. So go ahead, find your chat feature on your Zoom, find your chat and introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, maybe the type of art that you do. Are you a filmmaker? Are you a painter? Be sure to send your chat to all panelists and all attendees so then everyone can see what you're sharing. And then throughout the presentation, as you're listening to Katie, as you're listening to DeAndre, you can also put your questions in the Q&A feature. Sometimes in the chat, we may miss them if there's lots of conversation. So the Q&A is a great way. If you have a question, if you hear something they say that you want more information on, put it in the Q&A and we'll be sure to capture that and respond to that. And we are recording today's webinar. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, hello to you. This will be posted on CBCA's resource library on our website, as well as our YouTube channel, so we can continue to offer this content to artists and creatives. I think those are all of my comments. We are excited once again for CBCA's Advancing Creative program to be partnering with Ent Credit Union. And I'm going to turn it over to Tracy to talk a little bit more about Ent. Thanks.
Yay. Thanks, Meredith. So I'm Tracy, and my partner in crime, Bethany, is on here with me today, and we are your business development reps from Ent. And so, kind of what we're going to be doing from you from our role is going to be answering questions that you have about Ent. It's going to be taking feedback if you have that on any of these classes, or if you have any ideas of new things that you want to learn, anything like that happens. Meredith has my contact information. I've probably sent half of you emails at this point, so feel free to use my email, use Bethany's email. We'd love to hear from you guys. But like Meredith was saying, today's class is about financial forks in the road. And so Katie and DeAndre are going to be talking to us about what to do when those bumps in the road happen and how you can recover. It's a great course. We're excited you guys are on here with us this afternoon. And with that, I'm going to give it to Katie and DeAndre. They're going to introduce themselves and then get us started.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is DeAndre. I am one of the business banker lenders here at Ent. I've been here for many, many years, which is a good thing. We were just having a discussion about this. 16 years at Ent is a long time, but not really, because we have people who've been there over 40 years. So I'm still a baby with Ent. But I am looking forward to speaking with you guys later. And Katie, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for the third class. My name is Katie. I've been with you for all three classes, so I won't make you sit through my whole introduction again. But for anybody that might be new to this class, I am the Community Education Coordinator for Ent Credit Union. I've been with them for almost 4 years now, but been working in the financial industry for a little over 12 years. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to get started. So today we are talking about financial forks in the road. And, it's not a matter of if life happens, it's going to be a matter of when life happens. We can do all of the planning in the world and still get thrown off track. Those unknowns are still going to happen. And it can help to kind of differentiate between the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. So your known unknowns, those are going to be the things that we know they're going to happen at some point. We just don't know when they're going to happen. And those are going to be things like car repairs or home repairs or having to replace appliances, things like that. And then your unknown unknowns, those are the things that we really hope don't happen. And they might happen, they might not happen. These are going to be things like sudden unemployment or medical emergencies. You don't plan to have a health issue that's going to put you in the hospital for a couple days. And I'm going to bring it back to some of our previous classes throughout today. So going back to some previous classes, this is why prioritizing that emergency savings is so important, alongside focusing on building up your credit, especially with a fluctuating income. You don't know when something might throw you off track, but you can be as prepared for it as you can be for when those things happen. And you can do that by creating that budget that we talked about and figuring out what our priorities are, setting aside what you can towards your savings, and then working on our credit so that if our emergency savings won't cover that thing that happens, then that you'll be able to get approved for the loan that you'll have to get to help cover that thing. So if you remember from the first class, I talked about how a year ago, my husband and I moved into our townhouse, and our very first morning in the townhouse, realized that we had all of these plumbing issues. And, while that wasn't fun, and I really don't like spending money on super boring things like plumbing, like that just sounds terrible. The whole situation wasn't as stressful as it could have been because we had been planning, setting aside savings for those what if situations. And so today we're going to cover some different areas where you can practice being more mindful with your spending. DeAndre is going to review some repayment strategies a little bit later for those times when we do find ourselves with some of that extra debt piling up. Since the last classes, we did our homework, we created our budget, we're following it perfectly, right? It's a lot easier said than done. There's all kinds of things out there that can trip us up. So these are some of the ones that we're going to cover today, and we're going to kick it off with the spending habits. We're going to throw it back to the first class again. So we talked about going through your last couple months of statements, going through those expenses and getting organized and really seeing where your money is going. And if you've done that, or if you still plan to do that, take notice of any particular spending habits that you might have. Maybe a habit that you didn't realize you had that's starting to add up over time. Starbucks used to be a big one for me. I know we have a lot of Dutch Bros fans out there, and I have to be honest, I actually haven't tried their coffee yet. I plan to, but I really, really love a good cup of coffee from Starbucks. And that became a habit for me, getting out of the office, walking over to Starbucks, getting some coffee, and realize that was kind of starting to add up over time. And I had to ask myself, how important is this to me? Starbucks isn't a priority for me. Coffee is a priority, definitely need to have that, but getting it from Starbucks. You didn't have to come from there all the time. So started brewing my coffee at home and then save my Starbucks when I wanted to treat myself. But goes back to thinking about what are your priorities. Is getting that coffee a priority for you? Or is going out to lunch a priority for you? Because that's your time to get out and clear your head, or that's your time to get out and meet with other people. So remember, your priorities are going to be unique to you and no one else. So if it is a priority for you, then budget for it. Don't let it be a habit that's going to start tripping you up. Because we're not saying to not enjoy things, but if you already know that there is a habit that is important to you and you want to keep it, then plan for it. Fit it into your budget. But take a look, and if it's a habit that is purely just a habit and it's not a priority, it's not that important, then maybe take a step back, you look at it, see if it's something that you might be able to cut back in some. Because remember, those little expenses are the things that can really start adding up over time. So I'm going to hand it over to DeAndre here, and he's going to start getting into a little bit more of the psychology behind spending that money.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, I heard someone call that place Star Yuck because they do not like their coffee. So definitely give Dutch Bros a try, and there's several other ones out there. Kangaroo Coffee, and what's another good one? Ziggy, I think, is a new one. So just talking about coffee. Here, retail therapy. Some of you may be like me and love to shop, but can't always spend the money. And I love this slide because it goes over different ways to try to avoid shopping. But I think this is actually also a part of the BC era. That's before COVID, because Amazon came in and made it so much easier to spend your money. And you don't have to. You definitely don't have to. Retail therapy really is, the psychic behind it is truly to buy something to make you feel good. So when you're in the store and you see a lot of things, you want to buy stuff to make you feel good. But remember, that's truly only temporary. Whatever you might be going through at the time, yeah, it'll help a little bit. But now that you've spent the money, did you really need to? And so you want to try to avoid just going into a store and spending money that you really shouldn't have or not wanted to spend in the first place. So going into the next slide, grocery stores, how you save on grocery stores. So yeah, you're going to find out the number to this, but take a wild guess at what the average two-person household spends in a year on groceries. Now, for me, this number actually was a yay, because now me and my wife are empty nesters. Our middle son just left the nest, so we are now empty nesters, and so we might be able to save some money with grocery shopping versus what you're going to see now. Now, if you are already a two-person household, the number is different than I think you might be thinking of. Let's give that number. Drum roll, $7,865. That is the average amount that a person spends in a two-household income to go to a grocery store. And that roughly breaks out to about $655 a month. If you've been grocery shopping lately, I'm sure you've noticed a lot of things are costing way more money than what it used to. Everything currently is going up and up and up. So it's weird, because when you want to shop and buy healthy, it seems like it costs a little bit more than the $655 a month. But these are things that you want to do, you want to take a look at it. You want to be able to spend the money the right way because it's hard-earned money. You've worked extremely hard to earn the money that you do, but you also want to spend it wisely. So definitely take a look, have a budget, go in, and when you start shopping, you'll see 2/3 of what we spend in a grocery store is not intentional. We buy things again because we're in there, and honestly, grocery stores is designed to upsell you. This is There's a psychic behind how they set up the store, where they put things that will eventually get you to buy more and more. So you can go to a grocery store knowing that you're going to be in there really quickly and you're going to go in and out. But then you find yourself there, 45 minutes later, still looking at things and still buying things. And there's a process that grocery stores do to make you want to buy more. And here are some of the store tactics that they use. So in 1966, psychologists has gotten together and did a study on music. So music, they play loud music in a grocery store, and they notice if people are playing loud music, they don't tend to stay in that store for a long period of time. It's nice, your song come on, you dance a little bit, you feel good, buy a little bit more. But if it's too loud, then eventually you start wanting to get out of there at some point. But when you first walk in, anyone here walks in on the grocery aisle side, if you go to like a Walmart or a Target, they have it set up so that when you walk in, seeing the produce in all the vibrant colors, it helps create that sensory, that it gives you that, ooh, wow, ooh, look at this type of sensory feel. And then if you look over on the side, you walk over a little bit, you get the bakery aisle, and you start smelling the bakery, and that makes you hungry. That makes you want to buy a little bit more. I'm sure I'm not the only one who have walked into a store and smelled that bakery and was like, ooh, sweets? Oh, and I'm hungry? Yes. So you want to say yes to everything. Avoid saying yes. If you go into a grocery store, do not go hungry. Very important. Do not go hungry unless you probably know they have samples out for you to try. If that's the case, go to those samples, eat the samples to get you full or enough to satisfy your hunger. That way you're not actually looking to buy more food. This is a lot of the store tactics that they use. And then the flash sale. Flash sales are great. It's limited time offer. You have to buy it now. No, you don't. One item per person. Now, during COVID, yes, they restricted a lot of things, a lot of things. And so you could only buy one item per person. But those are necessities, and so you might pick up some, but just don't go crazy when you do so. Another tactic that they use for the flash sales as well is if you've ever been to Bath and Body Works, first thing you do when you walk in there, the ladies will hand you a bag. They want you to have this bag because they want you to fill it up. Like just go crazy. Lotions, whatever you're looking for, conditioner, they want you to fill that bag up. That's one tactic that stores use in order for you to buy more. And it actually works a lot of times. My wife, she will go into Bath and Body Works, and you have the 5 for $5 or 5 and you get one free. Yeah, she takes a lot of that, a lot of advantage of that sometimes, and we have to dial it back for us. Like, no, we don't need it. We don't need it. Okay, we can do this, but remember, we can't buy all the rest. And so sometimes it takes the two of us to look out for each other and watch each other's backs. And so going back to the grocery stores, you'll notice when you go in, another tactic that they use is if you want to buy staple products like eggs, milk, any dairy products, things of that nature, breads, a lot of times they put that all the way in the back of the store. Why do you think they do that? You probably already know, but if you've been listening, because they want you to buy more. You have to go through the entire store to get to the back of it in order to find the product that you only wanted to come in here for, to buy a quick item. That's where you find it. It's always in the back. And so we start browsing. So we have to go in with the mindset of, I need to get in, get the products that I'm looking for, and get out. That will actually help you save money. And then what they also do is set up the aisles. So they will put aisles where anything that you're looking for, or actually anything that you're truly not looking for, they put it at eye level or just below eye level. And that's because those are the big ticket items. Those are things that will cost a little bit more. Some of the brands are there that's going to cost you a little bit more. And a lot of times, if you buy Frosted Flakes, if you turn around or look down the aisle, the store will have their own product as well, their own brand. And a lot of times, believe it or not, it's made by the same distributor and manufacturer of Kellogg's. They do the exact same thing. They just brand it under the store brand. Yeah, you save a little bit money, but this is why they do it. And so they'll set it up because they know, yes, I'm gonna get more money. I'm gonna pay more money if I get it at eye level versus all the way at the top or all the way at the bottom. Those are some of the tactics that they use. And it's very interesting how they do it. So saw something the other day where you have things in bulk. If you are in a regular grocery store, they put those towards the bottom. And it was said that, we went out and we bought all of this paper towels and toilet paper. Who did not buy a bunch of toilet paper during COVID? Why was that a thing? I have no clue why that was such a thing. But you think you're getting a good deal because you've got 50, 60, 100 rolls of toilet paper. And truly, you're not getting a good deal because it's not like you're going to use that amount of toilet paper in a long period of time. What ends up happening is when you have an abundance of toilet paper, you actually go through it a lot faster. And instead of buying those 100 rolls of toilet paper and keeping it in your house for storage, you actually could have saved money and left that money inside your bank account to earn dividends, or what we call dividends. You could have earned interest on the funds that you keep in your account. So those are some of the tactics that stores use. How do you combat that? You got to be prepared. Go into the grocery store, have a list, know what you're looking to purchase. Coupons. There was a time you saw the extreme couponing where people would go in, buy tons of things, and then go to the store, the consumer or customer reps, and say, hey, I have all of the savings. You owe me money now, which it was stunning, but you had to spend $600 to get money back. So go in with coupons. I'm a huge fan of rewards. If you signed up for a store you like to shop at a lot, see if they have a rewards program. That is one of the best things. If you are going to shop a store, if they offer rewards, definitely take advantage of them. Comparisons is another thing. Like I said before, you can compare Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and store brand Frosted. I don't think they call them Frosted Flakes. They call them Frosted Nuggets, or let's say Frosted Nuggets. Same exact thing, but you pay $2 more. So make sure you go in, be prepared to take a look and figure out, do I really need this? Can I get away with a store brand versus the major brand? And these things will help you with your spending habits, completely help you with spending habits. So I like this next slide here. Keeping up with the Joneses, or keeping up with the Johnsons. So society defines success is by what we own and what we look like. So the Joneses theory is many people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. So for me, I kind of changed that just a hair by saying many people spend money they don't have to buy things they want but don't need to impress people they don't like. So we would go in, we may have the money to buy it, but do we need it? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. Do I actually need to buy this particular thing just to make myself look good in front of old Katie here, where she has it all? I'm gonna show her and do her up. Here, let me buy this most expensive car and then drive to work, knowing I don't have all the money to buy the gas, pay for the insurance. It's ridiculous. So buy things that you need. That is going to help you versus buying everything you want. Yes, it's okay to buy some things that you want. Absolutely. Because if you didn't, you start buying way more stuff at that time. But always go into a grocery store with buying things that you need, and stay away from some of the aisles that you don't need and just want. So, Katie?
Yeah, thanks, DeAndre. I love that section getting into, some of the psychology behind all of this. The stores don't make it easy for us. Their purpose is to make as much money as they can. And so they make it hard. They throw all this at us, trying to get us to spend more money than we were planning on in the first place. And I just wanted to add something that's helped me a lot is switching to online shopping for my grocery store. So grocery stores in particular, like DeAndre just went through all the different tactics that they use to try to get us to spend more money, playing on our senses with the location of the bakery and the produce, and, having those sample stations to get you to taste some yummy food that might make you want to buy something you weren't even planning on it. But doing my online shopping has helped me stick to my list. I have my list of what I want to get. I put it in my cart, I pay for it, and then I don't even have to enter the store and put myself, through that, because I will impulse buy. That candy bar sitting at the checkout line is just staring at me the whole time I'm standing there. It's like, please take me home. Like, no. So, and one other thing with the coupons can save you hundreds of dollars. Just be sure not to fall into the coupon trap of cutting out coupons for things that you weren't already planning on getting. So coupons are fantastic when it's something that you were already needing to buy, but just be mindful, watch out for cutting coupons for things that you weren't already planning on purchasing. My dad is notorious for this. He cannot turn down a good coupon. It doesn't matter what it's for. He'll see a buy one, get one free on dog food. And I'm like, Dad, we don't have a dog. He's like, yeah, but this coupon, this deal, I couldn't turn it down. So just be mindful, this little things like that. But we're going to throw it back again to our last class that we had on credit. So I know that these next few slides are going to be some that you did see in the last class if you were with us. It's really, really important information. So we wanted to be sure that we brought it back for another quick review. And if you missed the last class, and this is going to be some great new information for you. So this is just a reminder that these are the 5 factors that play a role in creating your credit score. So we have our payment history, which that one is the biggest. That weighs more heavily than anything else out there. And when it comes to payment history, they're looking at, can you make your payments and can you make them on time? So it's just as simple as that. And that's going to have the biggest impact on your credit score. And then next we have utilization. So with utilization, we're looking at how well can you manage your revolving credit. So your revolving credit will be your credit cards, your lines of credit, things like that, where it stays open, you borrow from it, pay on it, borrow from it, pay on it. And with utilization, we're specifically looking at how much of your available credit are you using and then carrying over to the next month. So if you're using your credits, using your credit card and then paying it off that month, that's awesome. That's fantastic. That's helping you build credit. But we're also looking at how much are you not paying that month and then carrying over to the next month. So as a reminder, carrying up to 30% of your available credit, that's perfectly okay. If you're using up to 30% and you don't pay it all off and that's going to the next month, that is okay. You're making your payments, you're still building credit at that point. But it's that 50% line, that's the line that we really, really want to try to avoid. So if we're utilizing 50% or more of our available credits and then not paying it down and that amount is being carried over as a balance to next month, that is when it's really, really going to start hurting your credit. And as you can see, utilization is weighs really heavily. It's almost on par with that payment history. So those are going to be the 2 categories that you really want to focus on and make sure that that is managed well. With your length of credit, this is where we say that some history is better than none. And then the more history you have, the more it's going to help with your credit score. So we recommended keeping some type of revolving credit open, like a credit card or a line of credit, because those will stay open, indefinitely. If you have a card just to get your gas, pay on it each month, keep it open, that is extending that length of credit. Because remember, your installment loans, which is your car loans and student loans, things like that, once that is paid off, it will hang around on your credit for 10 years. And so it's helping that length of credit for that time. But then after 10 years, it completely drops off. It's like that loan never even happened. And then all of that history with it that was adding to your length of credit, it's gone. So if you can have that revolving credit open, that's really going to help extending the life of your credit. And then we have new credit. We all need to apply for a loan at some point or another. I know I've applied for my fair share. And those inquiries, when we put in an application, those hang around on your credit for 2 years, but they have the biggest impact in the first 6 months. So, if you take nothing else away from this class, just remember to try to wait 6 months in between putting in applications for credit, because it's, that one application, it'll hit your credit. But then if you do multiple applications in a short period of time, within that 6-month window, every single one is going to hurt more than the last. And it's just going to keep building and building up. So if you're able to wait that 6 months in between putting applications in, and your credit won't get as affected by that. And then last, we have our credit mix. So we have the 3 types of credits. We've talked about the revolving credit. That's your credit cards, your lines of credits, your installment credit, things like car loans and student loans. Then that 3rd type is going to be the CRE, which stands for Consumer Real Estate, and that's your mortgages. And if you remember in the credit class, we talked a lot about trust. You know, your credit score is this numeric value for trust. And the 3 different types of credit are going to be 3 different levels of trust. And having a mix of them is going to help your credit score even more. And that 3rd type, that the CRE, deals with the mortgages, that's the one that can really help boost your credit score because it's such a high level of trust. You know, it takes a lot of trust to give somebody $400,000 to buy their house and expect them to make payments on it every month for the next 30 years. You know, that's going to take a lot of trust. So knowing what is factored into your score really helps you to know what you need to focus on, because so many people are looking at this number. You know, here's the short list that we showed you last class. You know, it affects a lot more than just applying for a loan. You know, that is a big one for sure, but it can affect applying for a job, or it can affect whether you get accepted trying to rent an apartment. You know, and like I said, this is the short list. We've got the extended one here also. You know, again, I won't go through all of this again since we covered it last class, but just remember that it's all coming back to trust. You know, so all of the folks on this list, they're just trying to determine how much that they can trust you. And they're using that magic number that we know as our credit score to make that determination. And having good credit is going to help you a lot. It's going to help you in a lot of different situations. But having poor credit, it's going to cost you more. You know, it's going to cost you more in deposits on an apartment or a deposit with the utility company. It's going to cost you more with your insurance. It actually costs more money to drive a car with poor credit. And then it's going to cost you a lot more when it comes time for those bigger purchases, like a car. Oh, sorry, my slides just disappeared on me. So sorry, y'all. Okay. Technical difficulties. Gotta love it. So that, you know, poor credit can cost a lot more when it comes time for those bigger purchases, like getting a car. You know, your credit will directly influence the interest rate that you're going to get. And that in turn is going to affect the total cost of that loan that you need to get. You know, looking at a $25,000 car with a 5-year term, you know, having that good credit, you know, you're paying some in interest, but it's not too astronomical. But, you know, if you start getting into the, you know, the poor credit, it costs so much more for that exact same car. And I know I don't really want to, you know, spend all that extra money. And, you know, these high interest loans, you know, having to pay all of this extra interest, it can really add up and cause a lot of debt to pile up. And, you know, so the first step is understanding those factors that influence your credit so that you know what to focus on to either build up your credit or maintain it, you know, if it's looking good, so that we aren't throwing away that extra money. Because debt can be scary, you know, but it's all about, you know, control. And remember that there is both good debt and bad debt. So your good debt, those will be things that are helping you build your wealth, you know, build your income. That's going to be something like your mortgage. You know, mortgage is going to be good debt. Or your student loans if you're going to school for something that is going to help you in your career. Getting a business loan is good debt. You know, if you're trying to start a business or you want to expand your business at some point, that can be good debt because it's going towards something that is going to help you, over time. And then your bad debt, that's going to be the things that are really going to pull you down and pull down your financial situation. So bad debt will be things like the high interest credit cards that you can't keep up with the payments and the interest is piling up on the balances, or taking out a personal loan for an unnecessary purchase. Payday loans, that's going to be bad debt. Payday loans can get you in a lot of trouble. They charge a ridiculous amount of interest, and they are created to get you sucked into this cycle where it's hard to get out of it because you have to keep getting that payday loan and the interest keeps piling up, and it's just it's a never-ending cycle. So if you have found yourself stuck in a payday loan cycle, talk to your bank or your credit union. They can help you get out of that. And some bad debt could also just be good debt that went wrong. So your credit cards can help you build credit when they're used responsibly, but then they turn into that bad debt when we start overspending and overutilizing and using our cards to buy things that we hadn't budgeted for. But then also sometimes we just get in over our heads, and it happens. It happens to so many of us. And it might not be just those unnecessary purchases that got us there. Maybe it was some of those unknowns that we talked about at the beginning of class, like a sudden loss in employment that put us there. But whatever the case, knowing that there are options out there to help us work through that debt is so important. And I'm going to turn it back over to DeAndre. He's going to go through how to get organized and some different strategies that you can use.
Who knew so many people check our credit just to see if you're credit worthy of their services? Insurance companies charging you more if you don't have good credit. Landlords, of course, they want to see if you can pay them back. Utility companies using it to see, did this person truly have good credit? Are they credit worthy where I can extend them this loan or these utilities to use? It is amazing how many companies and people actually use your FICOs to see. But you also want to pay your debt down. Like Katie was saying, there are good debt and there are some bad debt. So from right here, what I want you to do is take a pen and paper, and this will be really quick. Think about the most expensive thing that you have is probably either going to be a house or a car, some type of auto loan. Write those down. If you have student debt, that'll probably be next. Medical bills, those are a little bit different, but if you do have them, put those down. And then credit cards. Typically, that's going to be the highest debt to the lowest debt. So not for me, but for me as this example, my home, $400,000. Just got a brand new truck, that's $80,000. My wife's BMW, she's been paying on it, so now it costs her $50,000. So right there, we are already at $530,000 in debt. So throw in student loans, been paying on for 20 years, we're down to $40,000 now. On top of credit cards, that we're at $30,000. That's $600,000 in debt. That is a lot of debt. So you have to understand where you are in order for you to come up with a way to repay that debt or at least get it paid down. One of the easiest ways and one of the most fulfilling ways to pay debt down is called the Snowball Method. So this method is for anyone who wants to pay off the smallest balances first and work their way up to the largest balances. And there's a unique way of doing this too. So let's go back to saying credit cards was 30,000, right? We're paying $600 a month on credit card bills. So you take that 600, you pay extra if you can. You want to get that one paid off. Keep the card, don't close it because that'll be bad on your credit. But keep that card, use it every now and then just to keep an average of using it, keep it staying open. So you take that credit card, you now paid it off, 30,000 gone. We're feeling good, right? So that's $600 that we were paying towards the credit card. Now we're going to apply it to the student loan where we owe 40,000. So we're already paying $200 a month on our balance for the 40,000. Now let's add that 600 to the 200. Now you're paying $800 a month to pay off the student loan. Guess what? It goes down even faster. So now I'm paying on my wife's car. We're paying $500 a month for her car payment. So now that we have our credit card payment paid off, we have our student loans paid off, let's take those funds. Now we're at 600 and 200. Let's apply that along with the 500 to my wife's car. Now we're paying $1,300 a month, which is the same debt you were already paying, but now you have extra funds to pay towards it, right? So now we're paying $1,300 a month, and on a $50,000 auto loan, it goes by pretty quickly. So now my brand new truck, $80,000. My payment is $800 a month, but now my wife's car is paid off. So we take those balances again, add them all up. You're looking at paying $2,100 on my $80,000 truck. It goes down even faster. So now the only debt we have left is my mortgage, a $400,000 mortgage. So we take the $2,500 payment along with that $2,100 we were paying, and now we're paying $4,600 towards my mortgage. And so you can see where you're able to pay off debt a whole lot faster using this kind of a snowball method. It helps you feel good when you do pay that first one off. And then when you move to that second one, it feels even better because now you're applying the payments that you were already using towards this other balance that you've already been paying on. So it makes it a little bit quicker. The next method, this is where we take the highest interest rate and we pay that off and we work our way down the list. And a lot of times it's going to be the same setup where credit cards are going to be first. That's usually the highest interest rate we have, and work our way down. Now between the mortgage and the auto loans and the student loans, it might fluctuate a little bit, but typically it's the same thing. It's taking that most expensive amount of interest and paying that off as quick as you can, because you actually end up saving money. Is if you go back to the slide where it says, I have a car loan, 25,000, paying for 5 years, depending on my interest rate, you will see how much money someone will spend just on an interest rate. So here is the same method. You take that Avalanche method, you apply it to your highest interest rate just to get it paid off and paid down. Now, not a funny thing, but funny thing, we teach this in my one of my sons. He, again, was doing great. was educating him on paying off and paying down. Got him a credit card. The credit card company gave him a $4,000 balance. He has no debt. He's already paid off his car. He just has this credit card. And so instead of him just paying on it, he tried to make a payment and it didn't go through. And he didn't think to go back to verify it. So he got a late payment fee. Oh, and guess what happened after that? He went over his allotted amount, his 4,000, because he spent. Oh, that even hurts even more. So now his credit has dropped. He doesn't have that A+ credit that he did. His interest rate went up a little bit, and now he's paying more just for that one small mistake. So you have to be extremely careful when you do receive some type of credit, just to get it paid off. And for him, he's just gonna have to work it through it. At least he's young enough to do it. I'm too old. If I was to do that, it'd be a long time before I was able to get out of that situation. But now I've learned, and we all know the older you are, the more you learn. And a lot of times we all learn by mistakes. So this was his mistake, and his mistake to learn from. And so doing methods like this to help you pay off any type of balances is a good way to, one, again, feel good, and two, get things taken care of. The last method in paying off debt is consolidation. So this is a way, if you are late, if you have problems because you have 6 different bills that you have to pay, maybe it's a good idea to take your home, get as much as you can, equity that you may have, get as much as you can out to pay off all of those other smaller debts. And that way you only have 1 or 2 payments to make versus the 6 or 7 payments that you have been making. And this is a way to at least get it all under control. Maybe you can refinance again to get a lower payment, especially after, I would say, about 9 months of paying on something. If you did have a mistake, a hiccup, it takes about 9 months to really get your credit back to a better position. It may not be where you started off. It may not be that 740 or above. Maybe just below that, could be 690, but that's better than having that 599 credit and paying the 21% on an interest rate. So get it under control, start paying it off, making sure that you are doing the right things to do it. Pay any additional fees that's out there, and this will allow you to really get things under control and get things paid off. Again, debt is a good thing. It's a necessary thing. If you go to buy or not even buy, to rent, if you can find a car to rent, if you go on vacation, I understand those are all just taken up. It's nuts right now. But if you go on vacation, you need to have a credit card because they don't accept debit cards as a form to hold your car over. So having a credit card that maybe don't have a balance or maybe have a small balance that's manageable would be a great use of your time and money to be able to rent that car and take your vacation. So hopefully a lot of these things that I'm going over will help you in the future, or help you right now actually, to better prepare you for your future. So Katie, I will turn it back over to you.
DeAndre. Yeah, and with these repayment methods, we have 3 different options here, and it's all about finding, what works for you. Same thing with your budget, what's going to work for you with your debt repayment, what works for you, what makes the most sense for you. And sometimes talking to a financial coach can help you kind of work through that. Financial coaching is something that we offer. You'll check with your bank and your credit union as well and see if they have a financial coach that you can sit down with. And it's a really good experience, you sitting with them, and they can, from a professional perspective, take a look at everything and help you kind of make those decisions and determine what strategy is going to be the best for you. If you are looking for a financial coach, I recommend be sure to find one that is free. So you don't want to spend more money while you're trying to get out of debt, spend more money on somebody that's supposed to be trying to help you get out of debt. So there's lots of free options out there. There's also a lot of different government programs out there available. There's so many people that want to help if you are in type of a situation. And so just to wrap up class today, we just want to challenge you, try looking through your budget and your spending and see if you have an area that you can maybe reduce some of your spending in. And if you are having trouble picking one area, then rotate it. Pick an area, spend a few months on that trying to reduce your spending, and then change it up. Go to a different area then also. And particularly with like fluctuating income, like I know a lot of y'all have in this class, I just want to say again, like prioritize that emergency savings. That's going to be really big, because you don't want to find yourself getting into even more expensive debt, because you didn't have anything in savings just as a backup. We did the 30-20 model when we talked about budgeting, about putting 20% towards savings. That can feel like a lot. So if 20% is a lot, just try to do whatever you can to work towards that savings. And then as you build up your emergency savings, then you can look at your budget and see what extra you have that you can put towards that debt repayment, fund, what you're trying to work through. So we have covered a lot, y'all. We've talked about budgeting and credit and what happens when life happens and psychology behind spending. And so yeah, just go out there, challenge yourself. And as always, we have extra resources on our website that's free to use if you want to check those out. And we're almost on time, but just wanted to open it up and see if anybody had any questions, or see if there's any questions that I missed during the class. Pros and cons of HELOC versus personal loans.
So a personal loan, I can answer a little bit if you don't mind, because I do
go
lending.
for it.
A personal loan itself, it truly is a loan that's a term loan. So if you do get a personal loan, there's a repayment method back. A HELOC, or even a personal line of credit, a HELOC is going to still be, the interest rate will still be less because it's collateralized. We have something in case something was to truly happen that is collateralized, so the interest rate is a little bit lower than just on a personal line of credit, where you just signing your signature saying, yeah, I'm gonna pay this back. So right there, it saves you money. HELOC is a great thing to use to do consolidation as well. It's money that you've already earned in equity that you have available for you. So you can use the money that you've pretty much already paid down on your home to pay off higher interest rates, high interest rate loans that you have out there. Hopefully that answers your question.
Cool. Thank you, DeAndre.
Is it okay if I do a plug? If you do have a HELOC or want to get a HELOC and you have something with Ent, definitely come in and take a look at our HELOC options. We have some really good options out there.
Yes, our HELOCs are definitely amazing.
Go ahead, Katie. I was just going to make sure you saw the question in the Q&A.
Yeah, so there's a question in the Q&A about, more tips for that fluctuating income. And when it comes to fluctuating income, starting like with step one of with your budget is going to be really, really important. And just knowing, okay, what is the minimum that I need each month to cover my needs, and maybe some savings and things like that, and start with that as your baseline, and then really comb through your last couple months of expenses, and knowing where your money is going is going to be huge, because that's going to help you get organized and realize what you might be spending money on that you might not necessarily need to, that could be potentially getting you in trouble down the road. So with fluctuating income, just knowing your baseline and having a really good understanding of that is going to be really important. DeAndre or Bethany, if you have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you nailed it. Just, with fluctuating income, obviously the most important thing is making sure that your needs are met, and anything that's residual and left over, prioritizing paying yourself first, and then everything else after that.
Yeah, definitely pay yourself first. So putting your money in savings, so you have that backup in case you have a month that maybe not as much income was coming through as a month before. And then being mindful of what's called lifestyle creep. So lifestyle creep is when, maybe you start seeing more income coming in. So then you start spending extra money also, like keeping up with that. So if you have a really great month where there is some extra income coming in, just try to avoid going out and spending all of it, put as much of that into savings as you can, so that you have that backup for those months when maybe not as much came in. Cool. Well, thanks, y'all. Bethany,
Yes.
I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much again for your time with our third class. I know that over the past 2 weeks, we've kind of slammed you guys with a ton of information, and I will let you know that Katie, DeAndre, myself, and Tracy, all of us can talk about money all day, every day. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, need to get connected with a financial coach, or just additional resources, seriously, please reach out to us. I think there can be a lot of negative emotions surrounding money, but I want to let you all know that we have been there. Some of us are living through it right now. Like I said, my dog went to the ER vet yesterday, my check engine light came on, and it does, when it rains, it pours. And it's just something that I think it's better when you have a community that's supporting you in your financial goals and dreams. So even if you just need an accountability buddy, we'd be more than happy to just chat with you a little bit more. But truly thank you guys so much for your time and energy and engagement in this conversation. It really means a lot to us, and we hope that you guys got some good stuff out of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, DeAndre. On behalf of CBCA, this has been a wonderful partnership, and we look forward to offering more of these workshops in the future. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Meredith. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.